Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Anime Watch Club, a bi-weekly group discussion and review where the hosts of the What Do You Say Anime podcast nominate and vote on shows either we haven't seen or shows that hopefully lead to a great discussion. On today's episode, the future, we will install a Neuralink if it means we get Gundam, experimentees of the What Do You Say Anime podcast. We'll be reviewing the 2019 anime Mobile Suit Gundam, The Origin. Let's meet today's pilots. First up, he is the Dangwin Zabi to my beloved Horse Girl stable. We got Jay. Jay, how's it going?
What exactly does that mean?
It means we're on opposite sides of the playing field, and you are Dangwin Zabi.
So I'm basically a Nazi since I don't support the horse girls. I voted for it a few times, by the way.
Hey, you said it, not me.
Okay.
My hands are
Fair
up.
enough. Fair enough, I guess.
Next up, his first experience with Gundam came when he discovered Rule 34 Gunplas. We got Kat. Kat, how's it going?
Hey, buddy. Hey, you gotta know when to hold them. Gotta know when to walk away. And I held them.
One.
I know. It got triggered.
I don't know what I was talking about. Poker has to do with Rule 34 Gunplas, but thanks for being
It's
here,
a
Kat.
lot more than you think.
I don't think so. Okay, our first moderator tonight. Due to the lack of lesbians, he has informed me that he will be leaving after the intro and sitting out this episode and giving it a 3. We got Miles. Miles, how's it going?
Char is a lesbian.
Okay.
Amara dresses like a lesbian.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say she does, yeah. She presents, maybe. I don't know.
And yeah, I don't know. I'm excited to talk about this. It's fun that we get to do a Gundam. And this is a pretty good one. So that's neat.
That is neat. And Pat.
Yeah. Pat's here. Yeah, we're watching Mobile Suit Gundam, The Origin, Advent of the Red Comet, which is basically a prequel of Mobile Suit Gundam.
That's it.
That's it. Okay, yeah, I think so. Maybe
is what it is called.
Maybe I'm not the best person to to introduce this. Done by Studio Sunrise in August or spring 2019 season. So Studio Sunrise known for doing plenty of other, I believe, Gundam series and being involved in a ton of other mechas as well. I mean, Code Geass is Sunrise, right? I believe.
Yes.
What else is?
If it involves robots, it's probably connected to
It's
Sunrise.
probably Sunrise. Yeah, that's fair.
Or space.
They know their core like skills, I guess, and they use them a lot. It's an action sci-fi mecha military space shonen. I would throw drama in there as well. I'm surprised it doesn't have the drama tag. I guess maybe just by being a military-based show or a space show, it might be implied. But yeah, let's do our first impressions of this show. So Miles, why don't you start us off, and then if you'd recommend the show as well, and then maybe also introduce how familiar with Gundam you are too, because I know we're going to be discussing that a lot.
So I was introduced to the show when I watched, I guess, like the alternate version of this, which is like a slightly longer form version of this. So I started watching Gundam when Witch from Mercury came out, and then I was like, oh, wow, this is good. Let me consume a bunch of content. And I did. So this is from like Universal Century, which is the main line sort of Gundam thing. And so this was actually the first Universal Century thing that I watched, which is an interesting decision. I think you could sort of see it both ways, but I enjoyed it quite thoroughly. I knew I would like Char's character just based off of things that Jay and others had told me about them, and it sort of fits that archetype of protagonist in this show and antagonist in other shows that I enjoy. I would recommend this. I think I would just do a little research to see your personal preference on if you should watch this like before you start like other things or after. I think this is going to be a person-to-person thing. This is going to spoil some things that happen in like Mobile Suit Gundam, but I also think that this is a little bit more digestible than a thing that was made in the 80s. But I know people have issues and stuff with that, with the animation and everything. I think the original Mobile Suit Gundam holds up, but if you don't want to deal with that and you just want to watch this, I think that's fine. I would recommend this.
Fair enough. Kat, what about you?
I have consumed 2 Gundam shows, one of them being The Witch from Mercury, and one of them being one of my favorite anime, Mobile Suit Gundam Iron-Blooded Orphans. I really enjoyed Iron-Blooded Orphans, and surprise, surprise, I really enjoyed this one as well. There was a lot of pacing things that I kind of connected with at first, but then after disconnecting myself from that and realizing even though this may be its own standalone anime, it is technically trying to give more context to Mobile Suit Gundam, like the first one. I kind of ignored that little gripe, and I really enjoyed the show. I would definitely recommend it to a lot of people who enjoy both political animes and with a side of action with big robots. So, but then again, that's most Mobile Suit Gundams. So
Yeah, I was gonna say that sounds like every like mecha show, right, is always gonna have action in it, and I think we'll probably talk about that too. Is like how did we feel about the combat in the show? We'll get there because I don't know, maybe I have a hot take, but either way,
It's pretty
we'll get
mid,
there.
I think. Like as
Is
far
it?
as
Yeah, all right.
yeah.
Because like it's very like CG to me. I don't know. Well, again, we'll talk about it later though. Jay, what about you? What do you think?
Yeah. So I've watched a bit of Gundam myself, and I've watched most of the original series. I have not been able to finish it because I basically started it during the pandemic and then started watching something else and just kind of never picked it back up again.
Mhm.
But I'm pretty familiar with Char and Amuro and their various characters, various main characters of Gundam through what I've watched and also through just osmosis because many of my friends are mecha fans and fans of the Gundam series in general. I really enjoyed this as sort of like a way to maybe get somebody excited to actually jump into the original Gundam. After I was done watching it, or I should say, honestly, after the first few episodes, it got me more interested to go back and really tackle it because I feel like it presents a lot of the like while at first it can be a bit overwhelming with all the character names kind of being thrown about, I feel like eventually you get pretty used to them and the characters are distinct enough due to the animation style and how crisp everything is in this one that it makes it a bit easier to like keep track of who is who and definitely just renewed my interest in general in going check out the original series with fresh eyes. I think that the first couple of episodes do a pretty good job of setting up like the plot line and everything. Like I think that maybe the only downside I have for the first few episodes is it sets up the pacing in a way that the rest of the series doesn't really follow. Like it's pretty fast paced, but more or less sticks to one time period for the first few episodes, whereas we get a little bit slower paced overall later on, but it jumps around more until we get to the 1 year war. Overall, though, I think I would definitely recommend this to somebody if they have an interest in wanting to start the Universal Century Gundam stuff, but are a bit intimidated by the original Gundam 79. I think that this is a good place for them to start out and view that. And if they're interested in after that, then maybe like me, they'll feel that it's not as daunting to jump into 79. So it would definitely be a recommend for me.
There we go. All right, Pete, what about you?
So I have limited experience with Gundam. I've seen G Witch, I've seen Seed, but that was like 18 years ago or something. I don't really remember what I watched. And I've seen the first Mobile Suit Gundam movie. So pretty limited. For my recommendation for the show, I think like 90% of like mecha people fall into like three categories. Either you actively don't watch it, you actively search it out like you're a Gundam head, and then there's somewhere in the middle, and that's me, where I don't actively search it out, but I'm not like against watching it. And watching Gundam it was like okay, like I felt like the entire time. I think like my experience with like the first couple episodes were like Jay said, it was kind of fast all over the place. The names were a little confusing, though I did get used to it. But basing off of just like my personal preferences for like my style, I don't think I would recommend watching this. I literally just thought like it was okay, and other Gundams or mechas that I've seen, I think I would probably just recommend those other ones than this. So yeah.
Fair enough. Very interesting. Our first not recommended in a long time, I think.
No, we had 4 of them like somewhat recently.
And
Yeah,
Invaders
we're
of Roku-
invaders
Oh,
of Roku.
you know what? I
Yeah.
mixed up the order of the two shows because I was thinking of the Yuri Kuma Bear. That's right. I thought Yuri Kuma Bear was. I keep calling it that, even though it's not that.
Yeah,
Yurikuma Arashi.
Lesbian
you.
Bear Storm. We got
Yeah.
you.
Yuri Lesbian Storm, whatever it is. That show I thought we did last week, but no, that was 2 ago. You're right. So I would recommend
I
this
think
as
that
someone.
was like 3 ago, by the way.
Was it 3?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Time is a flat circle, man. I exist on Mondays. Every other Monday, I come down here and
Good night, sweet Patrick.
I talk to my friends about anime that I watched this past week or 2. God, was it really 3 ago? I don't care at this point anymore. I do care, but I don't care.
Yeah.
What's wrong with me? Really?
So I think the podcast has been sidelined by Pat having a.
No, it's okay.
having a-
Look, every once in a while,
crisis.
we just need to have like an existential break once we realize that like Shrek came out 25 years ago or whatever.
February. What the fuck, man? Like, oh god, no. Okay, so yes, I would recommend this series. As someone, I am the only Gundam virgin here, I guess, then, because this is the first Gundam thing I have ever consumed or attempted to consume in any way. Obviously, I've watched other mecha, but I know that those are 2 separate things. Obviously, one's a whole. It's like, I don't know, Marvel versus superhero as a category. I would guess is the best way to phrase it, because it's like Marvel has its own universe versus like the broader spectrum is mecha in this case. Yeah, I would probably recommend watching the original show first, I would guess, for me personally, but I do agree with what Miles said earlier, where it's probably a person-to-person thing. I was extremely frustrated at the start watching, and like the show very clearly expects you to know who these people are, or it's easier, or expects you to be able to.
It's a fan service show. Like, like they it's for the fans. So I get why you would be confused for sure.
Yeah,
Sorry.
well, like it doesn't. The first like 3 episodes, I honestly, for the first 6 episodes, if not longer, probably, I struggled to like identify who was the Earth Federation versus who was like the bad guys, other than like the Hitler family, basically. Like other than that, like I like the guys in suits, the military uniform people. Like there were times where I was just confused, where I was like, so wait, humans are still fighting humans? Like who's at war with each other? They also did this thing where like unmarked soldiers would like ambush and raid things a bunch, which I get it. Maybe that's part of their strategy to not be able to tie who attacked who, but I don't know, it was confusing, and I'm sure it was partly intentionally confusing, but also partly because I hadn't seen anything from it before.
Yeah,
So I would probably recommend.
Yeah. So, I mean, you're right? Like, it expects you to know these things. What I do think is that it enhances some moments in the original series if you watch it this first and then the OG. I think it just sort of it depends on what you want to do. You know what I mean? Like, if you're not up being probably lost to start with, then don't watch this one first, because and it's also important to note there is a longer version of this that we didn't watch for this, that I have watched before, right? That adds about 8 episodes of content to it, and
this is just a flashback in the original one, basically. Where like that's telling Char and Sayla's story more or less.
That could expand and like explains the situations a bit more and stuff, while this one is a little more presumptive that if you're watching it, you know what's going, right? Thus the nature of the beast.
Yeah, fair enough. Well, I just think of like something like Fate Zero and Fate Stay Night. Like, I am so glad I watched Fate Zero first, even though that's a prequel, so to speak, but it's more just a different time of the story versus, I guess like you said, this one is very clearly meant to be watched as something, as a prequel, enhancing the initial story, not being its own story in the same timeline.
Yeah, it's like,
this is literally a flashback happening in the story. So that's why it seems like that, is because at that point in before it was chopped up into a television broadcast, the story has been going on and explained to you who these characters are already. So it's really...
I don't understand what you mean by that.
Okay, so originally this released as a series of OVAs that were basically like 11 movies. What we watched is a flashback sequence in those movies turned into an anime series. So at that point in the original OVA series, when this flashback happens, the characters that you're confused who they are have already been introduced. Not the case when you watch it as a standalone thing. Basically, it's like, imagine if you were watching like Captain America or something, right? And it's a flashback to like it's like you're watching like Winter Soldier and they're showing you flashbacks to Bucky or whatever. It's like if they just dropped you in there and didn't explain who Bucky is, and instead it was like cut from when he's explaining who Bucky is, and they just don't have and this is me talking about my friend Bucky or whoever part attached to it. Like it's disconnected from what it originally was.
I like that.
Basically.
That analogy doesn't work for me because I haven't seen any Marvel movies, basically. But like I understand what you're trying to say, at least. Like, like what you're saying, I'm sure makes sense to someone who has seen Marvel stuff.
Sorry, to me, I didn't know which one to use, so it could be anybody.
No, yeah. Like to me, this just it felt very like, oh, this is Rogue One to A New Hope in the Star Wars like movie universe. Because like for one, that literally is exactly what happens.
Honestly, yeah, kinda.
It does. It literally just gives backstory to a bunch of characters that are like one-liners in the original show, or not one-liners, probably like the Rogue One characters are, but they're integral to the plot. They're side characters, and they get basically some depth given to them. And they've obviously like the main characters like Char and his sister, and apparently the little redhead is a Gundam pilot by the end of this. Like,
yeah,
wow.
he's the main character.
I did not know that. I didn't think so.
The ones I think about when you're describing are those like 3 Black Star guys who are like the mobile suit pilots alongside Char. I'm like, I don't remember what exactly happens to them, but I'm assuming Amuro fucking murders them with ease at some point in his mobile suit, because it's like, there's like, oh, we're ultimate badasses. Don't let Char outperform you. Watch, we're going to do an alley-oop where I shoot my gun over your shoulders while you axe through an entire ship. And then I bet in the original series, they're just like, we're taking fire. We're going down.
They're like a borderline comedic relief group of bad guys who fly Zaku's in the original series.
Yeah,
like Rocket.
Like the random TIE fighters Darth Vader is with that have fleshed out backstories and shit like that.
Well, it's an interesting thing about this, because this show both expands upon major characters and like humanizes them, and then also takes exceedingly minor characters and gives them fleshed out backstories too. It's a pretty interesting thing,
which I think was detrimental at certain points to the show. In my opinion, I think like Pete and I brought it up in the chat. We'll get to that later though, because I am still somehow on my first impression here. We'll talk about that later. Because I do think that'll be a pretty contested point. But yeah, so I would recommend this, but I would do that with a caveat of I personally would have liked to have watched the original first. I think
you're meant to do that, yeah.
Yeah, like I think mainly because that's what you're meant to do, rather than. Although I will say I really did enjoy watching this overall. It was really fun, kept me engaged the whole time, and by the end of it, I started figuring a lot of stuff out that I thought was very confusing. Like it did take me a while, but I did figure it out. Maybe by asking a bunch of people questions, probably, but still got there eventually. So yeah, let's go into our spoilers, which this is spoiler heavy, probably for not just Mobile Suit Gundam The Origin, which is what we watched, but I would imagine that we will have accidental spoilers for the original Mobile Suit Gundam as well.
I mean, the entire premise of this spoils a reveal in Mobile Suit Gundam, which is Char's real identity. Like that's a big plot point in Mobile Suit Gundam, so there will be spoilers for that in here.
All right, well, now that we have done the spoiler,
and
here is your spoiler.
Well,
here is. There you go. And now that we've done those spoilers, here is your spoiler alert for Mobile Suit Gundam, The Origin, and Mobile Suit Gundam, the original. What was the first talking point we had, Miles?
Yeah, okay. So I guess like we know who's familiar with Gundam and who isn't, and who's specifically familiar with like the Universal Century storyline, right? So like Jay and I have experience with that. Pete has a little bit, but not a lot. And Kat and Pat don't have any Universal Century sort of knowledge here. So what I wanted to know, and I wanted to talk about like the two perspectives or something, as far as like for people who hadn't watched any of this before or didn't know anything about it, like did you find the story of this war compelling? I know Pete seems to have had issues with like pacing, which I think is super fair, and like maybe following events and stuff. Were you at least like interested in trying to figure it out? Like, did you think there was something substantive there? You know, and the same for Kat and Pat, I want to talk about. And then Jay and I could talk a little bit about what it adds to the backstories of people, I guess, and after this.
Yeah, so I did watch the Mobile Suit Gundam movie a few years ago. Really don't recall a whole lot. I think I mentioned that they just slap people all the time in that movie, and I remember that's what stuck out to me. So I don't know.
Called bright slapping.
Yeah, just a lot, just a lot of slapping. But like with the conflict at hand, I was intrigued, just kind of figuring out like who was the good guys and who was the bad guys. It took me a few episodes to kind of figure out like which side I was cheering for, because you know Char is such a cool character that I'm cheering for him, but like, is he on the right side? Should I be cheering for these guys? And once you saw the flag that looked like Nazi Germany, I think it was pretty clear who I should be cheering for.
Oh, you mean where they start literally saluting it and saying "Sieg Zion"?
Yeah.
Zion.
You know, they didn't really hide that. It was pretty clear who I should be cheering for. So, yeah, I mean, it was an interesting concept, you know. The revolution of, like, I would say, like I guess in their eyes, they maybe feel oppressed.
I mean, they are. Right?
They are.
Like,
they are straight up. They are an oppressed people, just straight up.
Okay, so there's that, and then you know that's a pretty common thing in like war stories or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I was intrigued, and it was pretty cool, and yeah, I had a good time. Like while the story was developing with Char and stuff like that, I was entertained the entire time.
The Germans were kind of oppressed too, weren't they? When the Nazi, that's kind
of Germany wasn't made up literally by people sent. It'd be more like if Australia became Nazi Germany, because the space noids are literally like it's undesirables being sent to space. Like they don't. I don't know if they ever mentioned that, but people don't go. Like they don't go to space willingly. You get sent there because they don't see you as desirable to have on Earth.
But it's weird to me though, just because it's like it's not all colonies versus Earth.
Yeah,
it's some of them or one of them.
It's just like colonies in real life, you know. Not all colonies like eventually rebel against like their colonizers or whatever, you know. Like it's
like the colonies that England had, right? Which is like Operation British, which was the colony drop thing, was named after the fall of the British Empire. That happened over time, right? Like the US rebelled, and then like India did its thing later, and you know, then they let go of their own place. So it's similar to that, because the colonies aren't one group. It's not colonies and then the Earth Federation. It's like each colony has its own identity, right? And so Zeon, you know, like some of the first things they do is attack other colonies. And that is, you know, in order to grow their sphere of influence and also nuke the Earth with one in space, basically, because they are the most militaristic group of those colonies, basically.
Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I didn't really find a side to root for inherently, mainly because I was like what Pete was saying, like I don't know who I should be rooting for, and I think the whole point of this, especially this prequel, is to maybe because like for me, I was sitting here thinking that Char, because of his popularity and because of like how he's portrayed in this show, I was thinking he was the protagonist of regular Mobile Suit Gundam. Like I did not realize that little bitch boy Rei Amuro is like actually the main lead of the show, which again,
look,
like
man,
you don't know anything about him. Don't call him a bitch boy.
I'm going off of what I know, and
he gets right in the robot right away. You'd be so proud of him.
I would be. So once I see that happen, I will
He
sing his
loves
praises.
getting in the robot.
Good
honestly.
for him. Seriously.
Honestly, the only thing he's trying to do in this whole series is him constantly driving up to that base and going, "Bro, let me get in the fucking robot."
Yeah,
that,
I know, and he doesn't do it though. Like,
no, they don't let him. If they let him, he would.
And he gets well. The original reason he goes though is because he gets bullied into doing it. And you know what they say about people who get bullied? They're all bitches. You know.
True.
I mean,
Yeah,
we've all
this
been
is
bullied
serious.
by Miles. So
True.
Yeah, no, very unserious joke there, by the way, if it wasn't obvious. But I don't know. I was just like, why is this character in the show? It felt very like Shiro being in Fate Zero-esque, you know, where it was just like, oh, this random child is found at the end of the show. Who are they? And like, it mattered for some people, I'm sure. It hit for you guys. It didn't hit at all for me, where I was just like, oh, it's the kid of the guy that makes the Gundam. Yeah, I'm sure he'll be involved at some point, but like, wasn't relevant. So I guess that's why. But though, again, with like Char, I was like, this is sick. Like at one point, I remember in the very specific episode, I was like, why are there two Chars? That the character list doesn't show me Edward or whatever his original name was. Why, like, this guy has been the star of the show for 4 episodes. Where is he on the character list? What the hell is going on? Then I saw that there were 2 Chars, and I was like, something isn't right here. And then literally 5 minutes later, it happens, you know?
It is so hard to find any information about that other Char. He is literally impossible. Man it's like being born with the name like George W. Bush or some shit, where you're just impossible to Google.
He's a horse boy, is what I would call him, right? Yeah, he's very, very good with horses.
He's a country boy, live from Texas.
Yeah, from Texas. Wink, wink. Yeah.
country boy, I love you.
So I didn't get that reference. I'm sorry. So were Char and Sayla, were they aware that they were on a colony before they went to Earth? They were, right? I would assume.
Yes.
Yes.
Everyone
their dad told them, I'm sure.
Because like, to me, it was a surprise. We're going to Earth. I was like, wait, what? I thought we were on Earth this whole time. It didn't occur to me that they were not on Earth. So there's another thing maybe that, again, as a new to Gundam person, I was not ready for. I was like expecting the colonies to be the bad guys, I guess, or the antagonists, maybe, I guess, or the people invading.
Zeon, to put it frankly, Zeon are the bad guys. We need to state that. We need to state that frankly. Zeon, while there are the Federation, just aren't necessarily the good guys.
I was going to just say that
are the bad guys.
I would argue that the show kind of does like the war is bad thing, and which is the point of
war
Gundam.
Is
I
bad.
understand.
True.
Yeah. War is bad. It's inevitable as well. I would argue too. Like I just think that it obviously, Zeon does some very fucked up stuff. I was kind of not getting down with what the Federation was doing either. If you know,
for sure, the Federation aren't the good guys necessarily.
And this is also from Zeon's perspective, which I think is important to remember. So if you watch the OG series, like the zombies are not, they're a little like, not completely, but they're a little like Saturday morning cartoon villain-esque. They're not exactly that, but compared to like the humanization that they get here, I feel like they're not as fleshed out in the series. And so I think part of the reason, or like part of what this series wanted to do, was to sort of show what they were doing a little bit more internally and sort of give them more motivation and all of that, because you know they are representing an oppressed group of people, and you know they're opportunistic about it, but the varying levels of evil amongst them are existent, right? They're not all the one that's literally just Hitler, you know. Like Garma, I think, not Garma. It is Garma. Is it Garma?
No, it wasn't Garma. It was just
let me go to the
Wait, what are you asking?
Garen. It was
Garen.
Yeah,
Let
me go to the list that I had.
He's inspired. He is inspired by Hitler.
Yes, he quotes Hitler at one point, and then his dad's like, Whoa.
His dad's like, yo,
Hitler
no,
and
his dad's like,
Napoleon.
don't you remember Hitler and Napoleon? They like lost.
Yeah.
And it was
And
like
he's like,
He's like, I'm built
the
different.
lessons of the past will not affect now. Like,
yeah, it was very. I mean, it's pretty on the nose.
Did anybody here watch the dub?
Yeah, I think all of us
I think
did.
all of us did.
Yeah,
I watched the dub.
so Pete, you definitely recognize that
I
was
watched the
just
dub.
Illidan Stormrage Liam O'Brien talking right there.
I never got to Illidan, so
Oh, well, he's
fake
also
WoW Raider over here.
he's also Gara and Yasuo as well, so doing the same voice more or less.
The Gara from Naruto.
Yeah, he's Gara. Liam O'Brien plays Gara
Gotcha.
from Naruto as well.
Gotcha.
Mhm.
Okay. What
Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's anything else that I noticed. Like Char looks like an idiot with his goggles.
No,
on,
he
by the way.
doesn't.
No.
He looks
When he has-
awesome.
When he has the helmet on, he looks sick. But when it's just the goggles and
No,
it's the
those look
booty strap,
awesome too. What are you talking
I
about?
so much disagree. The glasses were cooler. I think it looks dorky. He looks like he's wearing the Google Glass or whatever the shit is now.
The helmet helps the visor out. I will say,
Like
it does.
it just
The
the fact
visor is cool.
if
I
it
won't
was
hear
just
anything else about it. It's cool.
if it was just the eyes.
Pat just
across,
wants Gundam to be Top Gun.
if it was like
Literally.
this, literally, if it was like
he
this,
wants to whitewash
That's
Gundam.
Cyclops.
no,
Can
it
we-
would look cool. Yeah, but like
You want him to look like a near character or some shit?
I guess so. Yeah, I don't know.
Firing
But
shots
near
off
char-
at Trent
Wait,
right
wait,
now.
wait.
Are not near characters
Tom
badass and
Cruise
sick?
is
Like
Char Aznable.
Yo.
Yeah, but it's different styles.
Drip is not what you wear; it's how you wear it. And
In that,
Char was dripping like a leaky faucet this entire.
Char has
was it the first
infinity
OP?
drip.
Was it the first OP for this where they have the awesome guitar shredding going on and it shows young Char and then his face turns into the mask? That was so fucking sick. Like,
yeah, that'd be even sicker if the
the
mask. didn't have
hardest
this
drip
little
of all
uniform.
time. The
We got-
hardest,
Let us know if Char's got drip or not with that visor.
bro. It's impossible. Like,
'Cause, like,
okay,
Is it dumb? Yes, but because Char can pull it off, it's dope. It's like the first person. It's like the first person to change like a fashion trend.
it's dope, retro futurist
Yes.
aesthetic.
Yeah,
I love
exactly.
it.
Because like the first time somebody wore insert fashion accessory X, everyone's like, "Oh, we weren't doing that before," and then it's like it catches on and it's cool. That's what
That must
Char
have
is.
Yeah.
It's
He's
like-
changing
There's
the
also, like,
game.
Part
I
of it
must-
where like if I wear a fedora, right, it's terrible.
It's
but,
sexual
like,
harassment. Yes.
Yeah, but if like
It's the
Johnny
HR
Depp
beam.
wears a fedora
Yeah.
or whatever, yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that's
Yeah, it's the HR beam for sure.
I'm gonna
Um,
find this visor. I will
It's
I will prove to you it's cool.
again, most of it is. I can't stand the little middle bar. It's so like why does that?
I mean,
exist?
because you're in a thing going however many G's and you need it to not fall down your face. That's why it exists.
You didn't see the
the
part where
helmet's
he was redlining for a minute there, like literally redlining.
Mhm. No, I did. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like a lot of the design in this show and Gundam in general is like designed with like actual engineering and scientific practicality in mind, other than the giant robots. And they even are like a little bit like more so than a lot of super robot shows. So, but like I don't know. It's how a pilot mask would look. So that's why it's like that. I do agree it looks cooler with the helmet though. Like I'm not going to disagree with that. I just think it also, I mean, I don't know. Char's got like a 50 charisma stat, so
for sure.
He's never betrayed anybody in his life.
he's never betrayed anybody in his life.
People with good charisma learn very quickly that you can manipulate people.
But he says that in I think Zeta. I can't remember when it is, but like he says like he's like arguing with someone. He's like, I've never betrayed anyone in my life, and like he's betrayed 2 people in this show already. So, man,
yeah.
Okay,
look,
actually, you know what? Let's bring this on to
Wait,
wax.
Yeah,
okay.
let's do
Let's
this.
bring this on to wax. Go ahead, Pat. State your case.
Yeah, I don't know. I think in the case of the first one, the first murder, because like the whole point is he commits like 2 murders that are outside of
So
war.
this is the
you know,
murder of Char, of the original Char.
of the original Char. Now, yeah. So we'll start with number one. What else is he supposed to do? Not
Run
let
away.
himself die, or continue to be hunted. No, man, it's him or me. I'm choosing me. I'm sorry. Like it selfishly, yes, I don't care. I'm still alive and he's not. Like, I don't know. That to me doesn't seem like something that's fair to blame. Self-preservation, I think, like, and it's so easy in media. I talked about this, I guess, in the club chat a little bit earlier, but like, it's so easy for in a show to be very like, yeah, be selfless, don't be selfish, whatever, which of course is how you want to send messaging in general to younger people, to impressionable people, whatever. But then when you get older, you realize that you need to be more selfish, I feel like, or that being selfish is okay. It's okay at times to be selfish and to act in your own best interests rather than one other person or something. And I'm not saying this is like oh, well, every time he kills 100 people, it's fine. Like, not that he does, but like, oh, in someone else's case, or when a billionaire CEO rips off his company because it makes him like $500 million richer. I'm not saying shit like that. I'm saying like in a little literal situation of it's either he dies or I die. Why the hell would he not pick himself? Why would he never pick himself?
Where is this dichotomy? Where is it coming from?
Whether he dies or I die?
Yeah, why? Why is that the
because
scenario?
he knows he's being tracked. He knows he's being followed.
Sure.
He knows that there are people that are about to kill him in this airport, or whatever that he's in. Yes. So he says to himself, okay, either I die or I die later on, or I can take this guy and have him die instead of me. Yeah.
That's insane. Like, it's insane. That's an insane take back. You can run away. You can
and then get shot. Like, I don't get that. You're
not going to get shot. You're God's gift to humanity.
But the whole point is that in that moment, he realized, oh shit, there are people about to kill me. There's probably a plot. There's a way for that. They have plans to kill me here. I need to escape. The only way I escape is if I pretend I died.
What I am saying is that Char is a very resourceful. He picked what I consider to probably be the most practical, straightforward method of getting this done. I'm not going to disagree with that standpoint. What I will say is that if you had something resembling a moral compass, that perhaps you would warn your friend that that plane is going to be an issue, and then also try your hardest to escape, maybe administer his help to help you escape, use any of the very robust connections that you have.
He still had a lot of resources at that point, even in exile, to be fair.
And that does decrease his personal chance of survival, but you have to, you don't have to, right? I think it is morally correct to not send someone to their death in order for you to survive when you definitely could have gotten away.
I don't
because
think I think
he's gone away from way worse scenarios than some
multiple assassination attempts.
Multiple assassination attempts where he's guarded by military people. Like, he's on his own now, basically. Like,
I mean, right at the start of the movie, he does murder that dude in self-defense. He defends himself against that guy in the suit of armor pretty fucking well.
He figured it out. He improvised. He's lucky.
He drove a tank when he was like 6 years old.
He shot a tank's gun. He didn't drive it, but
shooting a tank's gun is pretty impressive for a 6
I don't know. I mean,
so.
I at 5 years old, I would have done it, but I get it.
Alex Jones.
I know, exactly. Big joke there. No, I don't think that. I personally don't have a qualm with what he did, because for the sake of a story, or in a do or die moment, what are you going to do to save yourself? And I don't think that form of self-preservation is necessarily oh my god, he has no morals, he has no and also the show as well. I thought that they had just met. It didn't occur to me that 3 years had passed, or however long they had been friends, because like they meet the scene before, then they have dinner together, and then they're sent away to military school, like literally within 4 minutes of each other. So I realized that it was
That's part
childhood
of
friend,
what
whatever.
you lose in this like more abridged version.
Right. So like to me, I don't know. To me, it wasn't like, oh, my best friend from growing up, I'm sending to die. It was more, oh, this guy who conveniently looks like me, who I can, I don't know, take advantage of to succeed in my life goal and whatever. Like, I guess, okay, maybe morally gray, I guess, yeah, but like, it's do or die. I don't know.
I think
Can I say something?
I think it's do or die.
Yeah.
So like,
Okay,
what's the
because
point?
I agree. I think you're both right, but I think what this scene implies is like Char is like a psychopath. Like I think that's like
Okay.
what's supposed like. Are there like Miles said, are there other options to possibly get out of this? I can probably name 30. Like I don't think that this is the only option Char has. But he's a
It's the
psychopath.
easiest way out, though.
And me and Jay were talking
It's
about
the
this
one
earlier.
guarantee. It's the one
No,
guarantee
for
to
sure.
get out.
It's because he's an evil psychopath. Where I was talking about this with Jay earlier, that he's Griffith. Like he'll do anything to get his goal. Like it doesn't matter. Like everybody is just a pawn, even if it's this guy who, at least in my eyes, considered him as like a brother. Like that's what I felt like. Like either like a really good friend or like a brother. They essentially like raised their teenage years together. Like they were like best friends. But like he doesn't care. Like it doesn't matter because this is a easier way for him to get his revenge on his father. So that's what I loved about the scene. But to think that this is the only way out is wild.
Fair. I just think it's the only guaranteed way out. Is more my point. And
yes,
also, I don't
if
think
you're a
he ever really,
psychopath, which Char is,
or if you care at all, like the only person he cares about in his life is his family,
Yeah.
right? Or the only people he cares about. So
Was he?
it's kind of
I think
I honestly
well,
don't
so
even
far.
think I don't think he really cares about them.
Well,
honestly,
so here's all right. Well, again, as someone who is not a Gundam person, I'll give the.
I'm basing this off of the origin, purely
Yeah,
off
like,
of the origin.
He abandons Sayla and then participates in a war that takes place at her colony.
I would argue that he does that to protect her. Like that's what my thought process was.
He does it to protect her, Copium.
Yeah,
he does it to keep her away from him because she's not a threat to the air, so to speak. I don't think versus like he is. Like that's the way I viewed it. Is like he's separating because he wants to get the revenge, so he's going to do that. And if he took Sayla along with him, she'd be in constant danger, under constant surveillance, whatever else. Like that's the way I would. That's the way I looked at it, and then I also see like she. So he cares about her though. Clearly, still he still does care about her. He cares about his family. He cares about the, I believe, Indian girl that he meets. It seems like he seems to care about her.
Lala is Indian, yes.
He seems to care about her, but not. Could also again be like a pawn thing. I felt like the other Char was a pawn right from the get-go, or that he didn't actually care about him. Maybe it's the way that they shot it cinematography wise, but like he was not implied to be someone he cared about. Same way with the other guy, the second betrayal, so to speak. Like he was not someone that was ever in my mind. Like the second he said to Char, like, "Oh yeah, I know who you are," I was like, "Oh, this guy's so dead. Like he's one idiot. Why would you ever tell someone you know their secret identity? You know, like." It doesn't matter if you think you're their ally. That's just it's asking to get a gun in the back of the head. You know,
the other guy, like I don't blame him at all. Really,
that's how I am too. Yeah,
the other guy needs to be less hot about it, bro. Like you can support without just straight up like more or less telling me you might betray me at some point. Like just dick ride me in secrecy.
Exactly. He actually could have just supported Char more or like endorsed him, whatever, and known this whole time. And it also seemed like at first he was like, malicious, which of course, to be very fair to this guy too, you just found out that your best friend or a friend of yours from your colony has been replaced by someone else. So why else, like, why would you keep that a secret? Why wouldn't you betray them? So again, like, I guess Char to me, like, that was completely a natural reaction. The way he went about it, pretty fucked up, but at least he gave him a glorious,
You know what? Here's a hot
Blaze of
take.
Glory.
That
Bro.
guy was not going to betray Char. That guy.
No, he obviously wasn't going to, but Char doesn't know that. Like,
We don't
bro,
we don't know.
first of
Yeah.
all, shut up. You're saying, not you, Pat. Like,
No,
I'm
I
saying the
agree.
guy.
I know.
Like, shut up, dude. You're saying this shit. You're blowing up my fucking spot right now, dog.
This
Like,
guy
stop.
just met Jesus to him, right?
Bro.
Char is like his equivalent of Jesus, essentially. Like,
Yeah, no, he is, because this guy believes in what Char's dad believes in. So it's like if you,
okay.
it's like me, like, it's legitimately, man, I don't want to say it, but it's like meeting the son of a prophet or something like that.
like you
guy.
have this person who is a giant cultural leader, right?
Their
who was
country is named after him.
Yes.
Yeah.
His name is Zeon. The country's name is Zeon. You think his son is dead, right? And then you realize he's still alive, right? Like, I get why the guy geeked out, and because I mean, I don't
Fair.
know, like, I don't think that the person that I
But he should have been
idolize.
quiet about it, though.
That's my point. Like, I get why he geeked out, but you also then have to get why Char
Like, just say, yo, dog, I'm on you. Like, I got your back. That's all you gotta say. And I mean, maybe Char would still find that suspicious because, like, why is he watching my back? But like, like, bro, don't just say like, I know who you are, bro. I know who you are.
I just don't think he has any reason to think that. I mean, and like, look, I get Char, like, from again, another very practical decision by Char, right? I just don't think that guy, that kid, this like military recruit, had any reason to suspect that Char would murder him, because he doesn't know that Char, you know what I mean? Like, it was like if you met Jesus and you were like, oh, Jesus, I just recognized you. You're the bus driver. And then Jesus killed you. How crazy would that be?
Well,
if
yeah, because Jesus
murdered you.
Bro, if Jesus had like Satan's fucking minions after him, and like he was like, bro, I gotta work. Satan took over heaven, big dog. I gotta like work my way up and kill the devil's family. But like Satan's son is going to my school. Like, he's like, we're friends. I need you to not blow up my spot beforehand.
Yeah, you could say that. You could
It was
threaten him.
Okay, but it was pure comedy. And this is me moving the goalpost right now. It was pure comedy whenever Char said, we came upon an enemy tank.
That was,
and
I didn't get it.
We'll avenge him.
I didn't get that at first either, honestly. I was like, wait. Well, again, this is still in the beginning of the show when like names mean nothing to me other than like Char, and like I didn't even know his sister's name at that point. Like I knew who she was when they showed her, but I didn't like know their names. So like when the guy goes, oh, what about this guy? And they're like, they got him. They got him. They got him. What the fuck does that mean? What does that mean? No, sorry, Ted reference there.
Really quick though, we need a tiebreaker here. I think Pete and I are on firm. This was murder territory, where Pat and Jay seem to be like, that guy killed himself by being stupid.
It's murder, but it's practical murder. Again, you're trying to.
Shark didn't even kill the guy. It was those three dudes.
He ordered those three dudes to kill them. No. He ordered those three.
He said we came upon
following orders.
He said we came upon an enemy tank. That leaves it open to interpretation. They didn't even try to say like, hey, are you in that tank?
Well, he had them tune into the wrong radio thing. That's what he did.
We need your opinion on this. I feel like we sort of left you out. I apologize here, but do you think that Char is a psychopath who murdered two people in cold blood, or is he a guy who's just doing what he has to in order to survive?
So, to be fair, dude's a fucking psychopath. Like, period. In the story. Like, you could see, like, the only thing that was really keeping him in check was his sister. He left his sister so that she couldn't keep him in check. Like, sure, he might not have left just for that reason, but he went off on his own and kind of went insane. Like, more insane than he already was. To the point where it was just like, Sure, like I think that there was circumstance inside of his insanity. Sure, but it doesn't change the fact that he went to an academy that was being run by the family that killed his father, and then left, came back, and became like basically their ace pilot, and has just been working for them the entire time. Sure, he didn't kill the people that were in Texas, but he certainly didn't hold back and loom.
So he's supposed to roll over and die. I'm sorry. Like I just don't like. Again, we're trying to approach.
That's not an ultimatum here.
That's what happens when you
exactly.
lose. That's what happens when you lose in a war. Like you die,
Sure.
like as a soldier, like as a foot soldier. Like
Sure,
I just
but
we're
he's
trying
not a
to.
foot soldier.
Where he's piloting the most. He's like it'd be like flying the hot air balloon above a World War One battlefield. You are the target. You are the central figure. You're the easiest, like the biggest target.
If the hot air balloon was made out of adamantium.
Yeah, okay. No, I agree with you, but like he's the number one target out there. He's the most valuable target. Like if he just rolls.
There didn't need to be a war. He talks Garma into starting the war, basically.
Yeah, legit. Like he just goes, "Hey, let me. Hey, you know what would be really good if you seize power? Yeah, start a war with Federation."
Well,
and then it like snowballed into this giant war that ended up like killing half the people on the fucking earth.
I'm not arguing that he is not like psycho or that he doesn't do crazy things, but the way that you guys are trying to describe or trying to really oversimplify what he is doing, it like you're trying to apply empathy to a battlefield or to war.
There was no battlefield initially.
In this situation, it is a battlefield. It is fighting for his life. There is no. I don't think there is empathy. You need to be robotic.
In response to that specific talking point, why did he let the leader of the Federation go?
Because
the Admiral Revel, because he knew that he would start the war.
Yeah.
So
which would further his advances. It would further his goal of eventually, from my understanding, again, from a very only origin perspective, of basically taking down the entire, what are they called? The Zuba?
Zeon.
Zabi.
The Zabi family.
To be fair,
the entire Zabi family is his goal. His goal is to slowly pick them off, I would guess, one by one, or to take them from power or whatever, because he knows they're the ones who killed his father.
To be fair,
okay, first off, he doesn't know that. Cat, continue.
To be fair, like as a person who is also only has an idea from origin, I have not watched the first one at all. Like it doesn't seem like he's trying to do, like it seems like he's trying to do that at the beginning, but then we don't see any inkling of that later on. We don't see any inkling of this is who I am. It almost like later in the show where he's kind of addressing letting the dude go. He seems more like, I just want war. Like he seems like, I just want to kill people. That's what he seems like. Like I don't see a lot of the don't put empathy into a battlefield situation. Like I get that. But like Miles said, there was no battlefield at first. He said, "Hey, start a battlefield. Start a war. Let's do that." Like there was a shot around. He was the person that constructed the shot heard round the universe.
He's basically. I'm sorry. He's the person that sent the assassination attempt on his own life. Like that's what I'm not understanding. Like this family is coming for your life. You know it's happening. Like how are you supposed to be? Just be like, all right, well, I guess I'll die, or I guess I'll run away and let them keep chasing me for the rest of my life. Like I just don't. I can't fathom not at least understanding why someone would take it into their own hands to save their life, to save ideally their sister's life, their family's life, and to continue on their lone goal in life. That's
if your plan to save your own life, which admittedly is what he's doing, and to get revenge on the people that you suspect killed your father, resulted in the death of 4.5 billion people, would
You're
you be
fucking
like,
insane.
them's the
Yeah,
break?
it's a little crazy, but it's war. War.
It's a little.
It wasn't war. It was like a
But that's how you approach. You have to approach a situation like that, for one, and two. I don't think that his initial plan was, oh yeah, my initial goal by living the way I'm gonna get revenge on this group that killed my father. I'm gonna wipe out half the planet, and I'm gonna do that. Like, no, that was not. That wasn't even, I don't think, his idea, was it? It was the idea of Hitler, the real genocidal maniac in the thing. Like this again, I just think that Char sees this as a means to an end and a way to survive and a way to get the goal that he wants, which I suppose is also what Giran sees what he does as. But like, I guess I relate more to Char, shockingly, than I maybe I guess I should be admitting that, like, I don't know, like, self-preservation is like he's preserving himself.
I'm not getting on a plane with you ever, dude.
Yeah.
If we were
No.
that's crazy.
Fine. Cool, good. Don't like I don't care. Like again, would I shove you off the plane without a parachute? Because
If it meant you living, yes.
Yes.
No,
no,
I wouldn't.
That's what I got from this
Exactly.
whole conversation.
No,
Yeah, like,
why would I do that? How would
I don't know why you would do that.
If it was you or
That's the whole
me,
point.
but we don't know how you would get to the "it's me or him"
Yeah, exactly.
part. Is the thing?
Well, that's because they never will. It never will happen in a real life. Like, but in a the whole point of that, I believe, that being like the whole point that it's trying to show is how militaries or how nations are forced to think in war, and how crazy it sounds like to a normal human being. But when you are thinking in the favor of the entire nation or in an entire group of people, you have to think with what is best for your tribe first, not the tribe next door to you or the next tribe over. Like, that's just I think, again, when it gets boiled down to one singular person, it looks worse. But when you're thinking about it from a I don't know, like a perspective of an entire group of people, like that's where again, like the me versus you argument, I don't know. I think we've talked to this point ad nauseum, so I'm sorry. I
still just gotta say, like, there could have been something else that he could have done if he wasn't a psychopath. Like, even though it might have put his life in more danger, it still, would have had a little bit of humanity. Like,
yeah, I think you take, like, even if it's, let's say it's a 40% chance you make it, as opposed to the 100% chance you make it, and you send a bunch of people to their death, or even one person specifically, right? Like, because he had to come up with that plan so quickly in his head. Like, it was his first thought. Someone was following him, and his thought was, I can switch our identities, and then that makes people think that I'm dead, so I can live a more peaceful life. His first thought wasn't like, oh no, my life is in danger and his life is in danger. It was,
to be fair, this wasn't his first
this.
thought. His first thought, like, he did plant the gun and all that first.
Oh, absolutely. Like,
So-
that
okay,
was something that...
this is part of what I've been wondering about, if he helped orchestrate this somehow.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah, no.
Again, if that comes out, then sick. All right, cool. He, again, still a psychopath, but like valuing your own life over someone else's is like I don't know. I just
Is insane.
Yeah.
It's an insane thing to do. If someone's trying to assassinate me and I can assassinate someone else so that people stop trying to assassinate me, I'm not doing it. That's
Well said, Miles.
Firmly. I am in that camp.
I appreciate it, Miles.
Okay.
Because, like, even then, like, there's still a chance that you, like, it's not 100% chance that you live. It's 100% chance that you live in that moment. But then again, you might as well take a risk. You don't know when you're gonna die.
you can get hit by a truck tomorrow, and then the sacrifice was nothing, or you could live 100 years.
Crushed
Who knows?
you get crushed by a mobile suit as you're attempting to flee from captivity to tell people about Minovsky particles.
Yeah.
Mm.
Yeah.
I don't get
That was a guy literally got crushed by a mobile suit falling on him.
On the moon, yeah.
Yeah. Damn, that was
remember that.
brutal.
I couldn't tell what
photo.
happened because it was so zoomed out, really, until they told me what happened afterwards. But yeah,
I do want to point to the fact that Char is such a compelling character that we just spent 45 minutes debating basically two of his actions in a show where he does probably hundreds of things.
Yeah.
yeah, he is psychopathic or sociopathic, whatever you'd want to say. I definitely agree with all that as well. I got to be very
Probably
clear,
both.
but like, well, because he's good with understanding how to manipulate a crowd of people and like one singular person or a personality, right? So I guess that's where the socio versus psycho comes in.
Yeah, I mean, you even see him as like a 6-year-old, like having such authority, like assumed authority based on his birth, right? Like, I don't know.
So I think that this whole, like, in my opinion, the origin is just Char telling somebody his backstory and zhuzhing it up to make himself seem like he was much more important. Because, like, I was 6 years old and had a tank, and I told Cassilia to go fuck herself. I wasn't gonna go do that. I tell you what, and she didn't torture me nothing. And it's like, and also I was the best pilot ever, and I got to be a pilot after doing a coup. And I told them, let me be a pilot. And they were like, bro, your dick's so huge. You can be a pilot anytime you want, as long as you drag that shit across my face. and Pat, if you like the sunglasses, you should stay tuned. He's got more sunglasses in his
I hope
future.
so. I hope so.
He gets like a little bit longer hair too.
Yeah.
It's like very 80s. It's amazing.
I see it in the one complaint about this show that's not the show's fault. The character list on Mal shows a bunch of characters that maybe are shown like once, or it's their adult versions of them. So I was struggling so much. Like, why is Harrow, the little robot thing that talks like 4 lines, why is that the 5th character listed on this show?
He is the mascot of Gundam.
He's in every
I understand.
Gundam.
I know he is. He's in the Sunrise logo too, like every Gundam show. I get that, but like, why is he listed as the 5th character?
He's important in the show, actually.
He's
a character in the actual show. That's why.
Okay, fair. Well, exactly. So I guess that's my point. Like this origin one, like sure,
You want to know what the reason is? It's because Mal sucks.
Yeah,
that's why it does that.
I have to say the 5th character for me is other Char Aznabal, so it's not even consistent.
Yeah, and then the character right above him is Aga.
Yeah, the 4th character is that random guy from the casino scene
who gets fucking skewered by a shovel and then gets his whole head cut off by a damn.
That's so interesting because I have very different ones.
Are you on the 6-episode one?
No.
You know what? When I don't click the large character list, Haro is the 5th.
Yeah. That's what I was looking at initially. And then when you click the large character list, it reorders them a little bit, but it's still not in like order of appearance or anything, which is why I was made it very difficult. It probably is, but I don't think it is.
Aga has no favorites whatsoever.
Yeah, it is not, because Aga has 0 favorites, and a lot of these characters have 0 favorites, and then
randomly you see like
someone with like 100 or whatever.
Yeah, I know.
Aznabal has 12.
One point that we probably wanted to talk about too, considering this is made in 2019 as well. So like, what was the original Gundam, like 80s, right?
1979. Yeah.
Yeah. The OP, I think this is the 3rd OP actually throws back to the OP of the first one.
Yeah. The EDs are all remade endings too. I'm pretty sure all the songs are remade songs from the original series.
They clip scenes from it too, which is really cool.
Yep.
That's pretty cool. But yeah, so I guess my point being, this is 40 years in the future almost, unless I can't do math. Yeah, no, 40 years almost. To me, the fights were pretty mid, not gonna lie. I am not a big fight guy. I'm not a big, specifically, I like mechas for the political drama more than I do the mechas bashing heads. I wasn't really blown away by the combat or the mechanical movements of this Gundam.
It's fine.
Yeah. Like, it does a good job of showing Char being faster than everyone, which I think is mostly the point.
Yeah, it's not meant to really be a fighty. Like, it's a valid complaint. Don't get me wrong, but it's not meant to be like Sakuga, like, Obito versus Kakashi shit or anything like that. But it could be a bit better. It could be.
Well, it's like so obviously CG, and like that. I don't know.
Some of
I
it
like
was.
seeing where it blends in.
So much money on
It
mecha.
is so
it's
hard
insane.
to make a mecha that's not a CG nowadays.
This is a reason only Sunrise does it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, yeah, I get it, but also I dislike
It's
that.
It's a valid complaint, but at the end of the day, it's kind of like just it is what it is situation, if that makes sense.
A necessary evil.
Yeah.
Like,
I had no complaints, and I thought like the sound direction that they used was like really well done. Like the gun tank when they were running through the city, I think in episode like 2 or 3, I thought that was so good. I had like my Bose headphones on, and I felt like I was like in the tank. Like I thought the sound direction was just so good in that scene, and I thought the animation itself was really good too. They did a couple scenes with like you see a lot in CG with like the rotating camera, like different perspectives. They did that a few times. They also did it really randomly at the last episode when Amuro's in his room, and they do like this like 270-degree turn with it. I'm just like, his room is like a 4 tatami mat sized room. It's like you don't need this sick like rotation to check out his 12 like square foot bedroom. I actually really like I thought the production was like really well done on the show.
The character animations in this I think are fantastic.
Yeah.
Like all of the hand animated things I thought were really, really good. I do agree with Pat. Like it's sometimes jarring when you have that mixed with the CG, just because the styles are so different. And then I also, I think that it was a little clunky. Like the fights were a little, they weren't fluid like I'm used to from Gundam animation.
I like the hand-to-hand fights were very fluid in my opinion.
Oh, I sorry, I meant specifically the CG.
The mobile, the mobile suit fights. Like whenever Crowley is in the tank and she has to fight those dudes who are trying to like perv on her or whatever, that was really well done. The character expressions during the fight were really well done. I also really liked the soundtrack for this. I love that they kind of tied like the old school sounding like OST into it and remastered it a bit. I'm just a sucker for stuff like that. Sorry.
I was gonna ask the song that she sings right after she find the escort lady find, like after they find out that whatever that military mustache guy is about to get assassinated or Ramo. Yeah, that guy. Yeah, so the girl that hooks up with him or whatever, is she singing the original Gundam song or a song from the original Gundam series? Because like that song sounded vaguely familiar to me, which is very weird as someone who has not seen any Gundam stuff other than maybe I guess on playing like AMQ or something, like or from clips on Twitter or from memes where people use soundtracks from something. Like I swear to God, the chorus of the song that she was singing sounded just like something I had heard before.
I couldn't tell you, but a cursory Google says that no, it's an original song called "Don't Say Goodbye."
Interesting. I'm very curious where. Well, maybe it was just a chord progression in it that sounded familiar. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because it was a cool song though too. Yeah, I agree with you though. The soundtrack was awesome. And I think the sound design in the fights too, like it sounded like there was impact with the cannons and with the mechas and everything else. Like Miles said, it was so very different from like the rest of the awesome hand-to-hand stuff or movement and character designs that it was just, to me, I was just like, oh, every time, like, oh. Like, move on. Let's get back to the drama. Let's get back to talking.
You actually preferred the politicking to like the mech fights then, which
absolutely.
It's so rare to hear somebody like you're not really a mecha guy, but it's so rare to see people who aren't mecha people say that, because a lot of people are like, man, I just want to see robots punch each other or something like that. I can't stand the politicking.
It's the history guy in me. I just love I love like knowing like what's going on behind the scenes, the intentions versus the outcome, everything else. Like I think that, and that's why I found
about that for sure.
I find like all of that very fascinating. I did find the show a little too melodramatic at times. I guess we talked about that a little bit where was it Kat or who brought up the scene where
it was Rifle with
it was Rifle,
yeah
with the cat. There it is. That's the connection where it was just like, oh yeah, my mom just died. Oh man, I'm gonna go find my cat and tell her, or like take care, make sure she finished her dinner. oh, the cat's dead. Shit, I'm gonna go bury the cat with my mother. And
That
Char
thing
is
almost made me
gone.
cry.
That
It was
very
sad. No, it
sad.
was very sad. But it was just like, oh, this, like, I don't know. I guess 3 bad things just happened back to back to back that were all like supposed to be like super tragic moments in a person's life, and they all happened within like what, a day of each other, couple days at most, it seemed like. And so that melodramatic moment, and then I also we talked about this as well in our club chat, so you should join the Discord if you want to
Big
get some
plug,
behind the
Pat.
scenes
Big
stuff. Thanks,
plug.
thanks, Pat. I hated that this random according to Miles at least, this character who is basically just a housewife in the original Gundam is given a name, fleshed out, or at least made interesting by the fact that she's basically the third figurehead of the coup that happens.
She does more than just be a house. She's more than a housewife in the original.
She is
series.
more than a
She
housewife.
does more
See,
than that.
but she's not the badass soldier that she
Right, the badass soldier or empathetic person there that is, from my understanding at least, again, like in the show, I guess in the context of this show, she's a badass soldier, female, like strong, independent, whatever. Then the big military general just goes, be my wife, and we don't even see her say yes. It literally just like cuts to them having kids the next time we see her, and I was kind of just like, and then also when he's talking to her and venting to her, she doesn't really say much. She doesn't like say like, "Oh, I get your pain. I feel you." Whatever. Like, I guess she's there and listening
She's
to
just
him.
letting him yap, bro.
Yeah. You should. I don't know.
Or your single ass might not understand it, but I yap to my fucking girlfriend all the fucking time.
I mean,
Does
they
she
monitor.
not-
Just blabbering about things that mean nothing.
But wouldn't you want her to be
Justifying
like?
things I've done.
Wouldn't you want her to be like?
No,
I
because she might be
understand, right?
honest with me. I don't need her to be honest with me when I just dropped a colony on people.
It's a very person to person thing. I remember one time I was venting to my mom when a girlfriend broke up with me, or actually I broke up with. Anyway, the point is, there was a relationship that ended, and I was just complaining about it to my mom. And my mom was like, "Hey, like you need to like understand like her position and stuff." And I'm like, "Look, mom, I get that. Okay, you got to give me like a day or two though, because like now I need you to just be like." Yeah, that sucks.
What a bitch.
So like, you know, so I just need the support right now. And like, I'm going to do the whole retrospection thing on this later. And that's what she was doing.
I should clarify, my girlfriend does talk to me about stuff, but sometimes she doesn't. Sometimes she knows, like, you know, I should just let him yap.
Right,
and
fair enough.
That's what was going on, basically. Like, bro is coping super hard, and I don't think anything she could have said could have been better than the copium he was producing naturally.
Yeah, because he did eventually come all the way around from...
We saw him go full circle. Literally full circle.
It was pretty funny, actually. Like, that was one of the few times, though, where, like, was it meant to be funny, or was it meant to be, like...
Yeah,
because this show takes...
They make him much more comedic relief in Origin compared to the original series. In the original series, he's just like a big dude that gets ordered around more or less.
Because to me, this show took itself seriously like almost 100% of the time, which was a good thing for the most part. But I think there were times like what we were just talking about with the melodramatic scenes or like the random moments like that, where I was just like, why did this need to happen? Or why was it so like over the top? Like I don't know, that's how I felt about a couple scenes. But again, overall I'm glad it takes itself seriously, because I'd rather a show go balls to the wall like taking itself seriously than a show not, especially a show like like a show like this that or I'd rather it not pick and choose, basically. But yeah, I don't know, we have a lot more we could probably talk about, but I think we are running out of time. So why don't we move on to our closing thoughts and our final scores? Miles, start us off, buddy.
Yeah, there's like a lot in this that we didn't talk about. And honestly, it's because you can like talk about a lot. Like, I think part of the fact that, you know, people were confused and stuff is because there was so much going on, and it's all like very intricate and complicated. And then also this is something that's like abridged too. So like even this series couldn't fit it all in, you know. Overall, I like this. I like Char as a character, like a very large amount. I think he's very interesting and fun and charismatic. And even though he is a sociopath, I like cheering for him. I think that this offers some good insight on, especially a lot of the antagonists in the original Gundam series. and humanizes them a bit, and then also gives you some fun fan service and stuff. I think it's good standalone as well, though I don't think it's perfect by any means. I think this is a solid 8 out of 10, which is what I'm going to give it.
There you go. 8 out of 10 from Miles. All right. Kat, what about you?
So I like I said, I really enjoyed the show. Like in my opening statement, I loved the sister. Like she was a really really good character. I loved every time that she was on screen, not on stream. And then I kind of got that feeling of dread that I get with every like character that's like that has the chance to be like the super great hero and ends up being, an anti-hero to being a villain type of person. But I understand that that's like it's a bad feeling personally, but it means the show is good, in my opinion, a lot of times. And I also liked it tying in a lot of these characters that I didn't know about, and it actually made me really interested in the original Gundam. So I might watch that eventually. Altogether, the show was very enjoyable to watch, and I think that I would give it probably an 8 out of 10.
8 out of 10 from Kat. All right. Jay, what about you?
Yeah, so I think that this show kind of succeeded in what I wanted out of it, which was like reigniting my interest in the UC Gundam stuff. Like Kat said, this definitely made me more interested in going back and revisiting the original series and kind of going through that continuity. So I think I will probably start doing that. That'll be really fun. Sound design, as we mentioned, was A plus in this. Character animation, really solid. I loved the dub for this quite a bit, and it made it super easy to follow along for me personally with how well it was dubbed. Overall, I think that this was pretty enjoyable, and I don't personally see it as a standalone thing because there are certain character aspects that are kind of odd, and some things don't necessarily line up with the main continuity. So I think that yeah, I don't necessarily see it as standalone, but that's not going to take away from my score for it. Overall, this is an 8 out of 10 for me. I think I gave it like an 8.2, 8.3 on any list.
There you go. All right. And Pete, what about you?
Yeah, I'm gonna chalk some of this up to just a combination of not being for me and also kind of I think appreciating the series more if you had better context of previous stories. So I don't want to just purely base it off of just this context because I don't think it would be fair. One thing, it's like a positive and negative with the show is that I think Char is an amazing character. I absolutely love the style of anti-hero slash villain slash whatever you want to call him. But I think at the other side of the coin of this was I really didn't find any other character interesting because I just think Char is that overwhelming of a character. So when I compare Char to someone like Griffith, he has someone like Guts to like counteract with it. This one I just felt like it was just Char, so it was like good and bad. I had some issues with the pacing. I had some issues with some of the characters that I talked about. Pat mentioned it as well. I just really did not like that scene at all. It doesn't make a whole lot of sense to me. But the production value, I loved it. I thought the sound was just so good in the show. It was incredible sound design. Props to whoever was the director for this. It was really well done. I thought the animation was great. And yeah, the dub was really good too. So props to that. I think overall, I'm gonna give it a 7.
Okay, a 7. Like Pete mentioned, some of the pacing was weird. I was not a fan of it. It's weird because like again, it grew on me eventually, but it did take a while. Not necessarily for the show to grow on me, but like for me to understand what was going on fully, which was frustrating, especially at the start, because I was enjoying what I was watching, but I wasn't fully understanding who each person was, and it felt like the show thought I did or would or should, I guess. Which again, I guess it isn't the show's fault, but maybe they could have made it a little bit easier. Like, well, especially because at the end, the show starts to do that thing where they like show a character for 5 seconds and they give him their name and their title in like whatever squad they are 10 years from now or however many years in the future it is. Like the squad of bullies or friends of what's his name, Ray Amuro, whatever. those are his pilot, like his teammates eventually. What the fuck? Like, all right, the girl makes sense that he cares about her because she's cool, but like the bully is his teammate. Like, fuck that guy.
Bro,
Like,
turns out when it comes to war, like you'll take
you take what you get. I get it. Yeah.
well, and
I guess.
also people can generally stop being dickheads for like 12 seconds when they depend on you for their lives.
For their livelihood,
Yeah.
right? No, that makes sense. I guess I get that. I was just like,
yeah, I get
like,
you.
what the fuck? You know, it's just like, what the fuck? Like that. And it's like, oh, you should have known that. It felt like it was like trying to say, like, oh, maybe you should have known that, or surprise, this character is someone you know. And I was just sitting here like, I didn't get it.
There's a lot of that.
Yeah,
that's true. Yeah, because like to me, like all and most things that happened, maybe they weren't like predictable, but they made sense to me from like after thinking about it, I was like, oh, okay, this decision makes sense for this person to do. This is the next course of action for them, whatever. Maybe it's not the course that I would have thought of first or would have wanted to do, but it makes sense for them. Like I felt like characters were all very intelligent, but most of them were very intelligent and strategic in what they were doing, which I think is so important in political drama, because nothing is more frustrating than watching like good guy is smart, bad guy is dumb, and that's why this bad guy with like overwhelming strength is defeated by the rebels or defeated by the good guys. Like, I don't know. I think that was a really good aspect of the writing in the show, and I think it's reflected really well. So for me, the show was a solid 8 out of 10, and I think that if I continue to watch Gundam and continue to consume more, this could probably go up for me, honestly, to like a 9. I mean, yeah, the issues were annoying, I think, but I really had a good time. I was captivated watching the show, so I'm very glad I did finally get to a Gundam show. They've been on my list for a while. Makes me kind of want to watch Witch from Mercury before I get to like some of the other shows I missed from last year, honestly. So, I know, guys. Well, maybe on that one, but that'll bring our average score to a 7.8, which is a little lower than what it is on Mal. On Mal, I believe it's an 8.13, so like a quarter of a point. Guess that'll happen when you only have 5 people voting compared to 8,000 or 10,000. Either way. Yeah. So that's our review of Mobile Suit Gundam: The Origin. Miles, what are we watching for 2 weeks from now for our Valentine's smoochy smooch kiss episode?
In third place, we have Tunnel movie. Tunnel movie.
Legacy Point. Nice.
In second place, losing to Legacy Points, we have Yuri Is My Job. It was a tough loss for me. Normally, I'm not too invested in this, but I did not think the show had a chance. I thought Kids on the Slope was crushing, but I think people threw it in there because they didn't think it would win. And it almost did, but I didn't get to pull off the stereotypical Miles upset. So in first place, of course, we will be watching Kids on the Slope.
Woo!
Let's go.
I have somehow avoided...
Put a saxophone in here.
I've somehow avoided any spoiler or anything for this show. I don't know. Every time Pete...
I think I'm the only one here that's watched it, right?
Are you? I thought a lot of people had watched it. I don't know, but every time you've like ranted about how great it is, I've kind of just like tuned out for some reason specifically. I don't know why. Yep. Like this specific show.
I started the show at midnight on a work day, and I watched the entire thing, and I went to work in like 2 hours later because I was so hooked on the show. That's how much I love Kids on the Slope.
That's a Josei too.
Yes, sir. And it was done by the guy who did Cowboy Bebop.
Is there a saxophone in here?
Yes. There's a lot of jazz.
The jazz show, yeah. There's also a lot of jazz drumming in there.
There's a lot of jazz drumming.
Sorry.
That sounds like fun.
Saxophones,
trumpets,
guitar,
piano, you name it. An instrument, it's there.
Rotoscope.
I am 75% urine right now, so let's nominate.
Let's not. Oh, what? You have P Miles? I'm so sorry. Wait, we forgot one thing to talk about with Mobile Suit Gundam Origin. If we could just be open.
Yeah, let's go back and
let's go back and
I also have to pee. Let's go.
1 year war.
No, okay, come on. A longer episode's not too bad. That means we had a great discussion. Miles, what show are you nominating for our 2-core 100th episode of Watch or 200th 100th 100th? I can do math. Yeah, duh. Oh yeah, duh. 4 years. 100th episode of Watch Club. Holy shit, we've been doing this for a long
Yay.
time.
So,
What do you think?
We have, I was thinking about doing Mushishi, right? It's like a classic. I've nominated it before. I've been meaning to watch it. But I got to do this for the people. I got to make it happen. We're going back to back. I'm Drake in this bitch. I'm doing Higurashi When They Cry Kai.
Oh God, get Preston back on the pod.
We're finishing what we started.
Wait, so there's more to what we were
There's a lot
Is
more.
that the one I was watching on Hulu?
Maybe. I don't know.
I think it was. I was watching Gao, I think.
Go. Yeah. That's the sequel to Kai.
Oh, wow. I was very far ahead.
Yeah, but it's also sort of a reboot, so it's like intended to be able to watch from there. That is wrong.
Rebuild of Higurashi.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
No, the absolute fear in Pat's voice. The animation is a lot better, if that makes you feel better.
Well, I just know I can't wait. I'm gonna. Yeah. Kat, what about you? Oh, you poor thing. You look sad. What's up, Kat?
Well, I'm sad because I'm sick. But so here's the thing. We've been talking about a lot of shows, but we have not done one of the greatest shows in this medium. I'm nominating Cowboy Bebop.
Yes, I love that show.
I just watched it. Okay.
I just gave it to or helped someone give it to someone. Yeah, that was great. I feel like my show is going to be a very similar reaction, I think, to a lot of people. There you go, Cowboy Bebop. Oh, I'd love to talk about it. We would talk about that show for like 6
I have
hours.
a running bit. I can't watch this show.
Yeah, you have to watch it. You have to.
Hi, my name is Miles, and I'm your host. This episode is Pete is taking it off.
Yeah, there we go. Easy peasy.
We're feeling it.
Well, we're finishing our coup attempt. Right. Yeah, there we go. Jay, what about you? What are you nominating?
So I actually told a few people what I was nominating beforehand. The show that I'm nominating is a well-known shoujo that's beloved by many people in the server. Something that has been discussed quite a bit in the server. A few people have gotten into it recently. I'm actually pivoting away from what I was going to nominate before. So what I'm actually nominating is I am nominating Kimi ni Todoke from Me to You.
Okay. No. That's what I thought was happening. Sorry, I got confused.
No, I told people something else because I was originally going to do it, but I was like, oh, we'll do this instead.
I've seen it 4 times. I would not mind watching it a 5th.
What was the first nomination out of curiosity?
Or in High School Host Club.
Oh, that also would have been interesting to talk about.
Oh, wow. This just fits both of them, like a well-known.
Yeah.
No, exactly. That's why I had to clarify, like, I'm pivoting away, by the way.
There we go. All right, Pete, what about you?
I am going to nominate a show that I have seen before. However, I watched it in my early anime watching days, and I don't think I gave it the credit it deserves. It's highly regarded.
Gundam The Origin.
Absolutely not. It's highly regarded. Kill. No, I dropped that show.
No.
Kill Kill's bad.
No, it's not. Fuck you.
Kill Kill's not good. It's a 5 at max.
Oh my god!
I am nominating a show that deals with a lot of real life shit, and maybe I'll have a better interpretation of it at my age. I am nominating March Comes In Like a Lion.
Oh, okay. It's got my first place vote because I also have to watch that because I've been told that I've been almost gaslit by people that I have to watch it. Right? So it's so high on Mal. Surely it's high for a reason, right?
I honestly thought that you were gonna swerve and do Uma Musume seasons 1 and 2.
Nope, that's the following week. Don't worry though, it's coming up.
Yeah. Nay.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of like a way to make that work, but whatever.
You did. It worked. Don't worry.
Did it? Okay. Yeah. Thanks, Miles. Are we going fast enough for you? Who has to pee? Or
I've already pissed myself. It's fine.
Nice.
Okay, there we go. Thank you. Good catch. All right. Yeah. I was originally going to nominate Raze Fan because I remember how much fun we had talking about it.
No.
Yeah, we did. No, that was a fun time.
I'm thinking Escaflowne. Sorry.
You're thinking of Esca. Yeah, no, which I also had fun talking about that, but I get why people didn't. No, but we watched.
Kind of a banger.
It was kind of a banger, right? Like it was fun, and now especially with the Gundam, I feel like I'm even more qualified to enjoy it or talk about it, I guess. But then I was like, I doubt it'll win. So instead, we're going to do something even more popular than what Kat recommended. We're going to do Steins Gate because I'm pretty sure a lot of people in here have not done Steins Gate.
Spicy.
Surprisingly, for a anime podcast, I haven't seen it. I don't think Miles has seen it. He wanted to read it first.
Yeah,
sure.
that's the issue. So I have to fucking read a whole visual novel if I see this thing's fucking winning.
Or you could just see it first.
If it wins, we have to watch the sub. That's the rule. It's my favorite voice acting performance ever.
Kat, I don't think you've seen it.
I'm gonna watch the dub just to be different.
And then Jay has not seen it. So the 5 of us have not seen the third most popular.
I've seen Steins Gate.
Yeah, Pete
literally just said it was his favorite.
Sorry, I was gaslighting Pete. It's okay.
Pete hasn't seen
4 out of the. He hasn't seen Bebop. Yeah, sorry. 4 out of the 5 of us have not seen the third most popular and the 13th highest rated anime, and we're an anime podcast. That's kind of crazy, right? So surely we can knock that
baby.
I will also say that if Steins Gate wins, that becomes a Pat show for the rest of time.
No, what?
No, it's a Miles show.
No, it's a Miles show.
It's a Pat. I nominated it. Excuse me. What? It's a Pat
It's time
show
travel. It's a Miles show.
I know. That's why I'm nominating it because I know Miles will vote for it, and I will
not. I won't vote for it. I did this the last time this happened. I didn't vote for it because I want to read it.
Yep.
And I don't want to be time thing. I will love it if I watch it. I'm not denying that, but I don't want to. I want to read it, but I'm lazy.
Felt that.
You know what he doesn't have to read? Cowboy Bebop.
You know what else Dylan has to read? This podcast. It's an audio. Thank you for listening. If you want to support us, the best way to do so, like, comment, subscribe, leave a review on whatever platform you are watching or listening to us on. If you haven't checked out Anime of the Year, check it out. It came out last week. It was awesome. Otherwise, next week we will be doing our mid-season check-in episode. Talk about all the shows, aka I'm gonna be gushing about Seventh Time Loop Villainous show because that show is fucking gas. Shout out to Miles who called that from the get-go. It's an absolute banger. So thank you, and we will see you next time. Peace.
Bye bye.